political paradigm.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to have you.
Thank you very much.
I like to think you're in town for the tribunal ruling tomorrow.
Yeah, judgment tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, how positive are you of the outcome?
Yeah, from the day I read the petitioner's brief, I know that there was nothing in it. Because from my experience in litigation, in court, from 2003 till date, from my tribunal in 2003, and also the tribunal in 2007, and that of Comrade Adams Shumoye that brought him as governor. Then my House of Rep, I was also in the tribunal. In first term as deputy governor, we were also in the tribunal. Second term, we were also in tribunal. So, and most of these,
used to this.
Yes, most of the lawyers, 90% of the lawyers that handled Aswe Gudaro's case are all in those cases I'm telling you about. And the way they prosecuted their cases in the previous time, they've argued against what they are arguing for now. And this, for me, is the worst presentation that team has ever made in terms of looking at the electoral law and other things. So from the one, I am very optimistic that on merit of there was nothing in that petition, nothing in the petition, because the electoral law is clear. He that alleged must prove, and not only proving, you must be able to adduce weaknesses to the areas where you feel you are not satisfied. And you cannot, we have over 4,000 polling units. You limited yourself, fine, you limited yourself to over 700 units, but you only call 5 witnesses. So every other one is hearsay. And the electoral law forbids hearsay. The electoral law, you must be specific. And I went through that brief, and I've been in court in all the, from Benin to Abuja. I make sure because I'm an interested.
I was going to ask you, what's your role in this?
Yeah, I'm interested because Aswe stole my mandate. Aswe stole my mandate in the PDP primaries. So he cannot be the governor of Edo State when he's a thief. Sorry using that word, but he stole my mandate. I won that primaries, and they stole it. And I made up my mind that if I won that primary and they stole it, I'm going to pursue it to the end. For me, it's not just about the governor of Edo State. I want to make sure that I am vindicated. And that's how to follow this case, follow all the tribunal. I was there. So it's beyond just,
Well, you know, the argument would be, is Aswe Godalo the culprit here?
Yeah.
If you were talking about a stolen mandate, he was a candidate or an aspirant like yourself. Do you put the blame on him for you not getting the ticket?
Yes, both. Because for us, Aswe, I'm not here to discuss him, but nonetheless, I must say what has happened or transpired. I had about 9 meetings with him, and out of those 9 meetings, 8.5 of those 9 meetings, I used 8.5 of the outcome of those meetings. Later on, I discovered he lied. Because this is somebody that told me I was not going to contest.
You had meetings with him?
Yes,
to
discuss his interest. I said I was not going to contest. I said, but this is what I'm here. He said, no, I'm not going to contest. And haven't told me I'm not going to contest. I am somebody that I believed in. So if I believed him, I'm not a conventional politician. I believed him. And when I came into the contest, I was like, okay, private sector guy, coming into politics thinking he's clean, and he's like this. It shows why the Nigerian economy is also suffering, because it's not about government policies. The private sector guys too has a role to play.
So you discredit him because he said he was not going to run, and then eventually ran.
Yeah, so I like, okay, so the blame.
But did you reach out to him when you found out that he was now running?
No, When
you had meetings with him to confirm that he wasn't
before I decided to contest.
Then when you found out that he had thrown his hand,
yeah, we have to now go into the contest together.
Did you reach out to him to find out? I mean, because you're practically pointing fingers at him for sort of lying.
Yeah. When I later discovered that, I actually knew he was going to contest. Even when he lied to me, I knew he was going to contest because Governor Obaseki is somebody I read like a book from day one, so I know where he was going. So I already know that they have business interests to protect together. So, and they needed to cover up for each other. So from second term, I noticed that my thinking in the first term was going to be the other day. So I already have my plans and strategy. And so when he told me, when I engaged him in that, it was to just get him to tell me what I already know. But when he told me no, I smiled. I had to now adjust and consolidate my own strategy to make sure that I defeat him and the governor, because I was actually contesting against two persons, the governor then and Asue Godaru. And so I had to do my strategy. Unfortunately, my strategy worked until the conspiracy of the governors of PDP and some elements in PDP. And I told myself, and I went to the Blessed Sacrament, and I said, if they take that mandate from me and give to somebody else, that is the end of PDP in Nigeria.
Where the PDP hold primaries for the governorship?
Yeah.
They hold primaries?
They did.
So how did that go, and at what point did you feel like your mandate was stolen?
Yeah, I already, we did primaries for us to select the ward delegate, then local government delegate, and state delegates. So that is where we started from. And I make sure my strategy was to contest independently and also contest with the governor. So I contested with him and I contested alone. And at the end of the entire elections, I had 401 delegates, some from my list, some from the governor's list. But they did not know until Wednesday, 4 days to the primaries. That was when they discovered. And Obaseki asked to engage the former governor of Akwa Ibom to help him to talk to Bala, the governor of Bauchi. They flew almost 4 times to Bauchi to convince him of why they should not disgrace him as a governor. Because at that time, they wanted to camp the delegates, but the delegates were not available. They were under my control. I understand, because Obaseki is not a politician. Obaseki, we made him governor. Oshomole convinced us. I was not one of those that believe he should be the governor because I didn't believe in him. But Comrade Adams and Oshomole convinced us.
You didn't believe in him in the first tenure?
From the one.
About the second tenure, because you fought Governor,
from the
former
one.
Governor Oshomole for the second tenure.
When he was brought out to contest, I was the last man standing saying no to him. And I gave my reasons. But out of respect, I was convinced. Then what we were told was that we needed him because the Comrade predicted, and he predicted well, that we may be going to a recession. So he needed somebody that has economic background and everything, private sector knowledge to be able to hold the economy. So that was where Comrade got us, and we eventually...
Did you believe that?
I believe what Comrade told us.
You didn't believe his private sector experience, but you believe that he could help the state if a recession occurred.
At that time, that was what Comrade told us. And we believe Comrade, not believe him, because I have my reservation, like I said. And so at the end of the day, we dismantled our structure and gave him everything.
Okay, Mr. Shaibu.
Second term is a different ballgame. Second term was the issue of godfatherism in Edo State. And that was what led to...
basically fought godfatherism in Edo State.
Yes, nothing more.
Who was at the time posing as a godfather?
Our Comrade.
Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of people who are watching you now or listening to you now are going to be a little bit skeptical and question whether they should pay attention to you. And the reason why they would do that is that Some of the things you've said here have suggested that you had principles that were guiding you as you ventured into politics side by side with Governor Gordon Obaseki. You've also now said that you fought former Governor Shomole during Obaseki's second term on the basis of godfatherism. It would be nice if you explain how that has changed, because that godfather that you talk about now is the one who has now helped Governor Okpebholo to get to power. So talk about your understanding of godfatherism. Justify your reconciliation with the godfather that you talk about.
Yeah, we fought godfatherism in 2019. From 2019, that was where the issue of godfather in Edo State became a very serious problem and became negative. And we're led by Comrade Adams Aliu Shomole, and we even had a major rally in Samuel Ogumire Stadium where General Babangida was invited. And from that day on, one man, one vote, no code to godfatherism started in Edo State. And all of us, I'm a believer on comrade when it comes to activism, and we all cave in. And so, for all of us in Edo, when you say godfather, it's negative for us. It's negative. From that day on, it's negative. When you just say godfather, it's negative. We have leaders. Leaders, we prefer to call comrade. Now, I prefer to call him leader.
He's no longer a godfather.
We fought godfatherism in Edo State.
We
fought godfatherism in Edo State, and we don't want godfathers.
Did you fight the word, or did you fight the individual?
One thing about godfathers that we fought in Edo, and Comrie was right. He said we needed to get them put aside so that we will have the resources to govern and to build infrastructure. And frankly speaking, when we fought godfather from 2008, that was when the Red Roof Revolution that Oshomole brought in came in. That is where we could, the airport road, Comrade constructed the airport road. Airport road was a small lane. The godfather then said it's not possible to construct.
Who was the godfather then?
I don't want to mention them.
Why?
Don't worry. I understand. We would not want a single lane. But when we fought them, when Comrade led us to fight them, we were able to now have dual carriageway in Airport Road, New Benin. Comrade was able to construct red roof everywhere, and all of them is history. So that was the revolution that took place in Edo, to now have money meant for people being utilized for the benefit of the people. So for us in Edo, that is, for me, that is what I still see.
Hey, Mr. Shaibu, that doesn't expressly answer the question. I want you to explain the perception of a godfather you had of former Governor Shomole then, and the process of reconciliation, which has now made you not see him as a godfather anymore, but as a leader.
No, I've never called him a godfather. He's my
Well, you did.
father.
You said
He's
in
my
your
father
for your second tenure, you said it was just to fight godfatherism. And then I asked you who at the time, and you said comrade.
I said then.
Then he was a godfather there.
No, wanted to pose.
He wanted to pose as a godfather there.
Yeah, because he has always said they cannot be godfather, and he is not a godfather.
Okay.
But we have leaders. In fact, we got to a level where some leaders that were calling themselves godfather started changing their names to leader, that they are no longer godfather. I remember Chief Tom Ikimi also telling us that it's no longer godfather, it's now leader. You understand? So he is our leader. I call him leader general. A comrade is our leader general. He's our leader. You understand? But it's not the issue here now. But the main important thing is that we, through comrade, we're able to redefine the democracy that we have today. Obaseki almost derailed it, but we are back on track.
How did he almost derail it?
Yeah, because he came with the notion of putting everybody that helped him aside. And for him, he saw politicians as negative. And he now wanted to create his own paradigm. About that paradigm he wanted to create, if it was for the benefit of Edo, I would be with him. But it was not for the benefit of Edo. It was about taking our collective heritage in another form to privatizing our collective heritage in another form.
I think you'd be more specific, because I'm trying to understand the details of what you're saying.
Privatizing our collective heritage, taking government facilities, our government things to themselves. Go and find out what press school, who is the owner of press school now. Go and find out the controversy behind Redison Blue. Okomo Oil, go and find out. Osiomo Power Plant, go and find out. Edo Refinery, go and find out. Gulf Mills, go and find out. There are a lot of things that I saw that I said, no, this can't continue. For me, I am not in politics for self-aggrandizement. I am in politics, one, to sustain democracy and to show that those things I used to do against government as NANS president, as student activist, and that all those rallies that we held against the military, that we needed democracy, my being involvement in politics is to prove that it's doable and it's possible. And I continue to say that my being in politics was my encounter with Bola Ige, late Bola Ige, when he said, when bad people continue to rule us, the good people continue to lament. And he encouraged us that when we leave school, we should try and get good people into politics. And for me, my involvement in politics in all the offices I've held, go and check. I am people-oriented. Everything that has to... even if you are a devil and I see that you are a governor, governor, and you are doing the wish of the people, I will work with you. Because mine is the wish of the people.
Is the governor trying to recover some of those properties that you allege were converted for personal use by former Governor Obaseki? Is Governor Puebla at the moment trying to recover them?
Yeah, there was a panel I set up which have submitted reports. I'm aware that there are a lot of things that are going on. Obviously, this governor is a practical governor. It's not a package governor, like I always said. And I am convinced that those things will definitely be recovered. Some of them, those that are involved are already looking for how to sell them so that their name will not be called.
You know, earlier you said that your fallout with Obaseki was because you found that he was undemocratic and trying to, go against what you stood for. Some of us almost recall that your fallout was because of politics, your political ambition. Which of them is it?
Yeah, my fallout actually started even before the ambition, because I'm somebody that is vocal and I will always express myself. Even at gunpoint, I will express myself. And I've never stopped expressing myself. Even while we were working together in the ESCO, ask any of those commissioners, they will tell you, I said this, I said that. But one good thing about me is that I'm a team player. Whatever contribution I make, negatively or positively, remains there. I will not, if the majority say we are going right, I will make my own leftist contribution. But if majority will go right, I'll go with them. And that is the spirit I also got from the parliament, because the people, they say, will always have their say, but the majority will have its way. So I've been guided by that principle. So for me, the real thing, the real one that you and I, the general public, now saw was when I wanted to contest for the governorship. And I knew that he was not going to support me right from when we were sworn in.
So it was because of the fallout that he wasn't going to support you for?
No. From when we were sworn in, I know that if I attempt to contest, he will not support me.
Why is that?
Because he has his own agenda. He has his own business agenda. And that business agenda, for him, is more paramount. It's not about Edo State, it's about business.
Let me draw your attention to something. The Edo State Commissioner for Education, Padi Yamu, recently took a tour of some schools in the state. And then he said that the $200 million World Bank fund for the Edo Best initiative is a sham. Said he virtually wept when he went through the schools. I'd like you to respond to that because you were part of that administration. Was that a sham, or is Edo Best really what it is?
Yeah, I would not want to say Edo's Best is a sham. Edo's Best, when you check what Edo's Best represents and what he was supposed to give through us, digitalizing our system, having to monitor our school curriculum, making sure that from whether you are in urban area, you are in the rural area, our children are learning same, and at the same time you are able to monitor life situation in any school within Edo State. That was what that package Edo Best was, and also being able to get this student to method of learning that excite them, that will get them quickly to understand what they are being taught, and also giving them opportunity to know how to use digital way of doing things from that level. So the entire package, the program was not a scam, but the implementation was faulty, and that is where the business thing comes in. So, and that is why I continue to, from my experience with Obaseki, we should be extremely careful. I think the president too should be very careful with these people that call themselves private sector guy and they want to come into politics. Because I've studied them using Obaseki to study them. I've discovered 60 to 75% of them in so-called private sector are scammers.
He used one person to study all of them.
Scammers, because they were all converging in Edo. Yeah. Every day we were doing seminar. But every day. There's no day we were not doing seminar. And this guy converged in Edo every day, every other week, different, all of them. Edo became a hub for their activities. But what came out of it? All those documents are there. So you cannot use 7 years to plan. A reasonable person cannot use 7 years to plan when you have 8 years to work.
Speak to the $200 million World Bank Fund.
Yeah.
Do you think it was poorly utilized?
Yeah, those are the business things. Those are the business things I was talking about. Tablets. Tablets were supplied, but I don't want to go into a lot of detail because some of these things will be subject to judicial interpretation as we move. Because there are a lot of EFCC cases that will be coming up. A lot of them that will be coming up. And I'm ready to even be one of them.
Do you know why that? Do you know why the Edo Best program as a concern?
Edo Best program for me was a good program, but implementation was faulty and wrong.
But that's why I wanted to ask you about the feedback from the World Bank that gave that loan. I know that in April last year, the World Bank commended the governor and said it was a good model, and in fact that low-income countries can take advantage of that model. Very much commended. So how is it now a sham, considering that the people who gave the money say it was a well thought out and implemented project?
I said the program of Edo Best, just like I defined, was a good, very, very good program.
The idea.
And you can get our children. Some of the schools that we started our program. Go and check those people's. Within first, second, third term, they can read and write. It's a program that I can recommend to any state that is ready to follow the rules and implement. It's a program I can recommend.
So you think that Governor
But implementation was wrong.
So you think that Governor Pueblo should continue the program?
Yes. They can rigid it and continue with it. But first and foremost, we must be able to get the classrooms. We must return back to the area of Oshomole, Red Roof. We must build infrastructure before we go into that. The infrastructure is key. Some of these areas where we have infrastructure, all those schools where we have those red roof, those infrastructure, we can start Edo Best there.
But Mr. Shaibu,
and with those that actually have the interest of education and have the interest of growing our educational system, we need to have them, not businessmen, not transactional people.
The opposition says that the current governor doesn't seem to want to prioritize education.
No, education is one of his priority. Education is one of the priority. You see, why I like this governor is that he's fresh, not only fresh, he's just a natural 100% homeboy. He's not into all this packaging. He says it the way it is, and he just does it the way it is. So he's able to reach the people directly. And he doesn't claim to know everything. And he also does not believe that everything he wants to do must be him. So he also wants to know what the people need. So just like the World Bank, one of those conditions they always give to you is need assessment. So he is doing that and is following it like that. So I think if you check, he's been going around checking those schools that need attention. And not only that, within his 100 days, he has been able to, some of those critical ones are back. There are a lot of, it will take over 20 years to actually get those infrastructure.
How do you respond to those who describe you as ungrateful? I recall that, I think former governor Nyesom Wike, when he was governor, had talked about you when you had your issues and says he's never seen a deputy governor this out there. Obaseki gave you the opportunity to be out there. And I also described you as, in fact, you know that you are the most popular deputy governor in the history of Nigeria. I dare no one to bring someone else. But how do you respond to those who describe you as ungrateful?
Yeah, no, that Wike issues were actually me being expressive. And the then chairman of the party told me his own story that when he was like me, he used to have that you'd say, I used to be like me, that's why he likes me. So he is not taking any offense from what I said. I only said what was the right thing. And I said the PDP will die in Edo State. We're a member of PDP now, as at that time, that PDP will die because I'm not saying democratic, their logo of being democratic is not being expressed, and that if they don't rigid it, some of us that came will return. And he felt that I shouldn't speak like that. And for me, I will just be myself. And that has been settled a long time ago. And ungrateful, everybody has this opinion about any action that anybody takes. And I don't hold anybody for any interpretation they give to any action. I've come to a level where when anybody insults me, I don't blame the person. Why? Because he's blaming me or insulting me based on the information before him. So if he gets the right information, he won't speak like that. So I don't hold anybody responsible for any interpretation of any of my actions.
Do you know why that came up in several conversations?
Yeah. Is
that during the build-up to the second tenure of you and Governor Obaseki at the time, you were not, many people didn't think that you should come back as deputy. They assumed that if the negotiation was going to be returning to the PDP should present a deputy and not you. But, you know, Obaseki insisted on you from what we gathered. And so people would look at that and say, this is ingratitude.
No, I think the issue of ingratitude should be on the other side. Obaseki is the one that is ungrateful, not me. I am not like every other deputy governor that they pick from the street. No, I was not jobless. I was not jobless when I became deputy governor. I was very active in the parliament, in the House of Representatives. I was a voice in the House of Representatives. And I was nominated to be his deputy to add value, to bring the political aspects to make him win. That was why I was brought in. So I brought something he didn't have into the ticket. I brought my structure, I brought my political will, I brought also everything, including finance. Yes, sir. I brought everything in to make him governor. He didn't bring anything. He only made himself available to be governor. But in terms of structure, in terms of political reach, even finance, he was nowhere. You understand? So it's a different thing. So I am the one that gave him leverage, not him giving me leverage.
Do you think that Governor Okpebholo and the APC should trust you, seeing how you fell out with...
I don't really want anybody to trust me, but I want everybody to judge me by my work. Give me the work. If I perform, fine. Don't judge me by how you look. Judge me by, check my record as a member representing Abuja Hostel, University of Jos. Check my record as the Welfare Secretary of Student Union Government, University of Jos. Check my record as the President of NANS when I was #1 student in Nigeria. Check my record when I was in the House of Assembly, back-to-back. I'm the first back-to-back majority leader in the Edo House of Assembly. Check 49 constituency projects that I did in 8 years are still standing. 196 motions and 89 bills that I moved in 8 years are still there. Nobody has beat that record. Come to House of Representatives. I can hit my chest to say, in the National Assembly today, Philip Shaibu's record in 18 months, nobody has beaten that record up to now. 18 months, my first 18 months, I only spent 18 months in House of Representatives. Go and check my bills, my motion, and the constituency project I did, and the empowerment project I did in 18 months. No member of the National Assembly from my state have been able to pick that record.
Will you be going back to the National Assembly?
My political future and fate is in the hand of God.
Well, I mean, you gave up your governorship ambition to make sure that the PDP doesn't win.
No, I didn't give it up. I only made sure that I was not ready to waste my vote and allow PDP win. They thought I was going to take other tickets and contest because I have the structure to contest. But I was not desperate to be governor. I wasn't desperate to be governor. So because I was not desperate and I was not controlled by ambition, I was controlling my own ambition, not my ambition controlling me. I made up my mind, like, this scam, these transactional people cannot be governor of Edo State. And on my own, I made up my mind, I called my structure, and I convinced them why we should not go and contest under any platform. Instead, we should go back home where we are coming from and support Okweholo to be governor of the state. And there was some dissenting voices, but I was able to convince them, and we all moved to support Okweholo. Two things I wanted to achieve. I became deputy governor under APC. Unfortunately, out of my activism, I went back, we went to PDP. So I was determined to return APC back to government house before I leave Osadebe house. So I was able to do that. So I got the ticket under APC to go to Osadebe. Fortunately...
Was this how you intended to return the APC back to the government house?
You see, God has his own way of doing things.
But was this how you intended?
Yeah, at the end of the day. That was...
So you say this whole time you had it in mind to leave the PDP and go back to the APC? We
had that in mind. That's why I said Obaseki is a scam. Why we agreed to go to PDP?
That's a very strong word.
It's a scam. I don't have immunity now, so if he feels no, it's a scam, I should go to court. I will meet there. I'm in court with him. It's a scam, and I can prove it in court that it's a scam. You know, so we all agree that, look, we will move.
You and Obaseki?
Yes, we agreed that we'll move, and we worked with some persons in APC to have that ticket, and we agreed that we will return back to APC. It was an agreement we had that we will return back to APC, but he got there. He now had his own different programs. I tried to persuade him why we should go and reconcile with Oshomole, why we must do that, everything, but he didn't listen. But as a loyal deputy, I persuaded I had to just follow. But I know that at the end of the day, watching him and how he was doing his things, I know where it will end up, and he ended up there. And there was a meeting in PDP secretariat. And I told them, I said, look, if X does not happen, this is what is going to happen. And eventually, everything that I told them, they have come to pass. Everything I told them at that level came to pass. And I told them, I have the grace of God. I am not the conventional politician. And anybody that stands on my way of something I already know God has told me is mine, that the foundation of that structure will fall. I told them, it's not me, Philip, but I know that the grace of God in me has told me that if this guy do this, this is what will happen. And I told him, and when I get this revelation, I always say it.
Do you have any regrets so far?
No.
Either from working with Obaseki or from the actions you took while you worked with him?
Yeah, I think the only regret is the relationship that the Obaseki and I, my being his deputy, cost me and Oshomole. Because Oshomole is my father. My father handed me over to him. But my activism, which he knows I'm stubborn. And show me your father, you know how your son is. He knows I'm stubborn. And he knows that I am straight. He knows that when I believe in something, I go for it. It's either you kill me or I get it. So I regret, that aspect is what I regret in all. But I like the experience that I got from it. That experience is what I like, really. Because if I've not gone through it, there are a lot of things that I'm doing differently now that I would have been doing differently. So the experience of Obaseki has also opened another chapter for me in terms of my political rising and things I need to do differently. So that you cannot buy in school, and that you can also read in any book.
I want to tap into your knowledge and experience as a deputy governor, and talk about, you know, the concerns of the figurehead or just existence of deputy governors who have zero, almost nothing to do while in office. Do you think this is normal, or do you think that there should be change, that deputy governors should be allowed to be more effective?
I think the Constitution has needs to be amended to give role to deputy governors, because the deputy governors can be governors and governors can be deputy governor. I always say it. I would have been governor. Obaseki is my deputy. It doesn't have two heads. If you check political qualification, I have it more than him. But most time, zoning and situation of things made one of them governor and the other one deputy. But unfortunately, when they get there, because the constitution is so drafted towards them, when they get there, they now appropriate everything to themselves and they become master of everything, forgetting that without him as governor, they cannot be deputy, and without the deputy governor, they cannot be governor. You saw what happened in Bayelsa and one other state, especially Bayelsa. The deputy governor was the one that had issues, and the governor, after all the practice he made to be sworn in, they were all taken out. The Constitution says the same qualification that the governor has is the same qualification the deputy has. The office of the governor is one. So deputy governor and governor are one. And what the Constitution intended to have is that in the absence of the governor, the deputy governor becomes the acting governor. That means he must also possess the same qualification and the same leadership knowledge to be able to govern the state in the absence of governor. So both of them are governors. I never saw myself as just deputy governor. I saw myself as governor. Because at every time the governor is not available, even when it's available, I should reason like a governor because I'm governor. And that's why all through I was not idle. Not because I was given a lot of leverage or given a lot of portfolios to handle. No, I was only sports. I'm just a sportsman. And in the course of not having anything to do in the office, I was playing football with Bender Insurance, and every time I became a player, I played for 5 years as deputy governor, and I was now asked to handle it. And you saw what we did with sport. The revenue team was not working, and I said I could, as an accountant and from my experience, I can do something. And I said, give me 3 months, and they gave me 3 months. I turned the whole thing around, and he has to now constitute a state revenue tax to make me chairman. And our target was to have 10 billion monthly. I was able to drive it from 1.8 billion to 4 billion before the crisis started. And we were already having new nets, tax net, to now push it to 6 billion. You know, we were already at the verge of having 6 billion every month before all this. So there